Hey guys, so today I want to talk about what I think is probably the most important aspect of learning a new language, and that is feeling comfortable with making mistakes and making many mistakes. So I've seen a lot of people who are perfectly capable of reading and writing, but their ability to speak is subpar. It's not so good. Primarily because they were always hesitant and they're always afraid of saying things and making mistakes. So they always had to wait until they perfected something before they could use it, and they didn't know how to fluidly connect things because the way their mind works, everything had to be perfect before it could be vocalized. All babies do in the first few years of their lives are make mistakes. They just make sounds like gargle, gargle, blah, 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 blah. You know, all they do is just this. And then eventually, they say ma or mama, right? And everyone says, oh my god, that's so amazing. This is he said his first word, right? And the baby at that point made this connection that, oh, this sound gets this reaction. This is the correct sound to incite this reaction. All the baby has been doing up to that point has been making attempts, thousands, if not millions of attempts at trying to communicate. This is the complete opposite of how a lot of people approach speaking when they learn a new language academically. They don't feel like it's worthwhile to make an attempt at communicating until they've perfected a particular sentence or phrase, and even if that's the case, they just have this one phrase that they're able to say, and they can't connect it fluidly in a conversation because they have, they've invested everything into that one phrase. So when you want to learn a language, the most important thing is to just start speaking. It's just even if 90% of what you're saying is incorrect, they're probably going to understand anyways, because it's not just what's coming out of your mouth, but it's also body language and context. So with all of these combined, the other person is probably going to understand what you're saying anyways. So if you're hesitating because you think the other person's not going to understand, trust me, they understand at least a little bit, if not all of what you're trying to say. If you're hesitating to use your language because you think that the other person is going to look down upon you, well, think of it this way. If someone's trying to communicate to you in your language, and they're still obviously a student or they're in the process of learning, how do you judge them, right? I mean, you're probably not overanalyzing and thinking, oh, this person's not very intelligent. No, you just perhaps you're even appreciative that they're learning the language. So chances are, first of all, they're not looking down upon you, and they're probably appreciative. So it doesn't harm the situation at all, and we always have something to laugh about, or we have an additional topic to talk about. So really, attempting to use the language has no downside, even if you're making mistakes. And if anything, it's the most important aspect. This is the only time where you get to use the language in a natural situation. How many minutes of the day are you actually saying something that isn't just memorized? Right? I mean, if you actually try to calculate it, probably not too much. So you really have to use all the time that you can with a partner that you'd be able to communicate with in that language to your benefit. So that's it. I mean, all I have to really say in conclusion is use the language. Even if you're making mistakes, just use it. Keep making mistakes. That's the way you should learn a language. That's the way everyone has learned their first language. That's the way you learned your first language. So please just keep making mistakes, and eventually you'll be able to converse. And that's it. That's all it takes to really start learning a language, is just feel comfortable with making mistakes, and you'll get there. Alright? Okay, good luck everyone. I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.